First I want to ask you about Gary Trousdale. You worked with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something I've noticed that I do actually get quite emotional about is the fact that, like, Gary's an Oscar-nominated director, but now he's just doing storyboard for DreamWorks.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. In a sense, do you think that's kind of demeaning?
Oh no, because his story is obviously one of the primary steps or elements in filmmaking. And that's usually where an awful lot of the very important decisions are made. Character development and character relationships and plot and so forth. And Gary was always very good at doing these gags and so forth. So I don't think so. Really, doing a storyboard is very, very close to directing. And just because you have one guy who's called a director doesn't mean that he's necessarily doing all the directing. I mean, he relies on all the story guys, who are his team, to help him direct the movie. So yeah, it's not at all.
Obviously worked with Brad Bird a lot.
Well, Brad Bird, on the one show, yeah, not a lot, but I saw a lot of him on that show.
What I do like about Brad, though, is the fact that he has become, in a sense, a celebrity.
He has, actually.
And I love that, because that's probably the first of any kind of, like, unlike Don Bluth, well, it's like Don Bluth, isn't there?
There's like Don, except, okay, I'm not.
You get what I mean, basically. That, like, right. Some animation directors don't get that famous compared to live-action directors, and Brad Bird has managed to do that somehow.
Well, I think it's because, from what I know, I don't know everything about it, but Brad's career he's treated it more, even though he's been in animation, although now he's in live-action, he treated it like a live-action career. I know that he was always involved with the live-action side of things and tended to hang out with a lot of live-action people. He was represented by, some live-action agent. I think it might still be, I don't know, CAA. But, he just, again, it was his attitude to the whole thing, I think, that set him apart. And, that's allowed him to, as you said, become a celebrity. The other thing is that with Brad, he also ended up writing his properties, his pieces. Incredibles in particular. It wasn't like you had a director and somebody else doing the writing, which is often the case in animation. Brad was writing it and directing it, and so it was very much his vision. And that's one of the reasons it was really good. And that's often the case again, I think, with any strong film, with any good film.
And what do you think about Kirk? Do you know if Kirk works? Yeah, because I've looked at Kirk Wise's filmography, and after Atlantis: The Lost Empire, he didn't seem to do anything else.
Of course, I think Kirk ended up getting involved in
Spirited Away,
in scripts. I know he got involved with all of the projects where Disney was distributing the Studio Ghibli films.
Translations. Yeah, he directed the dub for Spirited Away. That's as far as I saw it. I was wondering if you knew if he's done anything else since.
I don't know. I really don't know what he's doing right now. I haven't been in contact with him, but I don't know. Let's see. As far as he goes, again, it was an interesting thing because, again, at Disney, almost all those animated films, they came up with this way of doing things where they would have two directors, these sort of twin guys, and I'm starting to think. I think Kirk tended to be the guy who would maybe direct more things like, I might have this wrong, but he would be more responsible for some aspects of the show, and then Gary would end up being responsible for other aspects of the show, and and they worked very well together. So, but it was so the idea of the tandem directors was common at Disney with a lot of their projects.
There's like Ron Clements and John Musker as well.
Obviously, they've done a lot of work together.
Have you ever worked with them?
I never did, actually, no. I'm sorry that I never actually worked on any of their shows. It was funny, because with all the features going through the place, you tended to sort of leapfrog shows. You go from one to the other, and
I don't know if you ever did you ever mention if you were involved like the Disney Renaissance, you know, like the early 90s, late 80s?
Yeah, well, you see, I arrived there in '94, so really that's very interesting because yes, that thing they call the Disney Renaissance. And have you seen that movie called
Waking Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah, that Don Hahn did, and he takes it all like right up to what is it, Lion King?
Yeah,
and that's when I got there.
Oh, wow.
Was just as Lion King was coming out. Like I went to the wrap party for Lion King, and you know benefited from all the hoo-ha afterwards. But it's funny because in a way, when I got there, it's really when things started going downhill. Because Lion King was such a peak, and then there was Pocahontas, and then there was Hunchback, and they actually started making less money after Lion King. And then, of course, CG features suddenly became an issue. Toy Story came out, you know, and there was all this stuff about what are we going to do with 2D because maybe anyway. So it was interesting, but no, I mean it was. So I was there, yeah, from '94 to 2000. You know, so I started at Hunchback, and worked on Hunchback, Fantasia, little teeny bit on Tarzan, Mulan, and then Atlantis, I guess. Yeah. And in that time, things changed quite a bit. It was interesting. Yeah. I'm sorry. What was the question? I forgot.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, you said
the Renaissance of Disney.
Oh, the Renaissance of Disney. Was I involved? Well, probably more for like the last half of it rather than the first.
Yeah. I know what you mean. What did you think of Waking Sleeping Beauty, by the way?
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, actually, I thought it was interesting because they did get a lot of those, like there were a lot of issues going on at the time, and I was surprised in the documentary how they got the principals to speak up fairly candidly about it.
Yeah,
they
noticed that. Yeah, I mean, like they did talk capitally about the relationship between Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Did you ever meet either of them, by the way?
Oh, just briefly. I mean, you know, you see them in the hall, or you know.
So you didn't have much of a relationship
I didn't
with
have
them?
a relationship with those guys. Well, that's the thing. I got there, Lion King came out, Frank Wells died, or, you know, had his accident. Jeffrey Katzenberg quit.
Yeah.
And that was all in like the first 3 months I was there.
Oh, wow.
And all of a sudden, you know, there was no Jeffrey, so I never really experienced the guy at all. But,
you've worked on Tarzan. Have you met director Kevin Lima?
Yes, I've met Kevin, and I've actually worked with him on a couple of things since.
And I was told he's quite intelligent as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's certainly been able to develop his career because I think he's working in live action now.
Yeah. With like Enchanted. I mean, like I've seen a Goofy movie.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I think that's brilliant.
It is.
And lots of critics downplay Goofy movie, but every time I see it, I think this is a really fleshed out film.
It's got some rather clever stuff in it.
It has. It's all about a father and son relationship, and it's like it's unbelievable. They've taken away the Disney formula of the '90s, pushed it away, and just did something completely different. And like critics are like, oh no, it's too outdated.
What I find about that is it's curious how you really have a lot of sympathy for Goofy by the end of that film. Yeah. No, I just remember. I'll say one. You may have heard this before, but like one of the things, like when Kevin was directing Tarzan, it was Kevin and Bush. No, who was the co-director on that?
Chris Buck.
Chris Buck. Yeah, that's right. And but apparently the story is that when Kevin was directing Tarzan, then there was some story problems along the way, and he was not afraid to hold up production and say, okay, wait, we have to fix this, we have to get the story sorted out, and didn't allow himself to be sort of pushed around by let's just say the administration. He kind of sort of tried to hold his ground as an artist, and so it was good, I think.